Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pretty in Punk. My name is Fiona. I am your host and girly girl guide to the world of punk, rock, and everything in between. Today kicks off part one of a two-part series that I am doing, bands that I think deserve way more listeners in 2026. We are talking punk, hardcore, grunge, garage rock, a little shoegaze, basically everything that I love and even more so love to share with all of you. For each band, I'm going to give you a little background, what they sound like, why I love them, and play a couple of songs for you guys to check out and to also fall in love with. Some of these bands are just starting out, some of them have definitely been on the rise, but others are criminally underrated. So I'm sure if you clicked on this video, we have a very similar music taste, and I'm sure you will find at least one band in here that you are going to add to your playlist immediately. So without further ado, welcome back and let's get into it. Band number one, we are starting off with the OBGMs. They are a band from Toronto, Canada, and they're one of those bands that personally I think the second you hear them, you are like, wait, these guys don't have more listeners, they don't have more fans, that is crazy. How are more people not talking about this band? This specific line in their bio, I love, and I think perfectly sums them up. For the OBGMs, punk isn't nostalgia, it's rebirth, and I love that. The OBGMs are fronted by Denz McFarlane alongside Cola Humphrey, Simon Outhit, and Joseph Brosnan. And their latest album, Sorry It's Over, which was released in 2024, it dives into all things heartbreak, figuring yourself out, endings and new beginnings, all of that kind of stuff. Sound and style-wise, they sit somewhere between punk, hardcore, alt-rock. It is loud, explosive, and they have really great, really catchy hooks that get stuck in my head for days. If you like bands like Turnstile, Idols, Pup, they definitely live in that world, but they have a feel that is still completely their own. Lyrically, they dig into endings, relationships, life changes, heartbreak, personal struggles, and their latest album from 2024, Sorry It's Over, definitely dives deep into all of those themes without ever feeling depressing. It feels very cathartic. My favorite song by them right now is definitely All My Friends. The riff hooks you immediately. The song gets stuck in your head. I love the chorus. It is definitely sing-along, scream-along worthy, something that if you were to see them live, you would love screaming along to, or you would love screaming along to in your car. Same with their song Buffalo. It sounds upbeat and almost celebratory, but then when you really listen to it, you hear lines that are, I chose you, I chose this hell, I'm so happy it's over, so effing happy. And I love that sort of contrast in lyricism and musicality when it sounds super upbeat, but the lyrics are definitely a little bit darker. As I was looking into the OBGMs and just diving deep into their music, I found a few quotes that I really want to share with you guys that I think really encapsulates who they are as a band. McFarlane says, "This is a black-fronted punk band, and that's really important. Rock and roll is mostly white suburban kids. That's what gets promoted. But we are black and we are out here. I was inspired to make rock music when I saw a black guy on stage, and if someone sees that in us, I hope it will inspire a new generation to go after this." Another quote from him, "As a black person making rock music, we are not represented in that space in the mainstream most often. When people are thinking about the top bands, they're not thinking about bands with people that look like me. And they definitely don't sound like me, and they definitely are not from the hoods I'm from." Right now, I would say that my favorite song is either All My Friends or Buffalo. Love how catchy and hooky they are, but also love the lyrics in both of these. Overall, I really think you guys should check out the OBGMs. I'm loving them right now. I love their sound, I love their energy, and I think you guys will too. Number 2 on my list for today, we have Dr. Shore's Unusual Practice, and the name alone of this band is what pulled me in right away. Like, how do you not click on a band with that name? I randomly stumbled across their song, How Could Anybody Be Sober These Days? I was instantly hooked. I loved the sound. I love how it was modern yet had that classic punk feel, and I also loved the lyrics. It definitely sent me down a full rabbit hole of their discography. So Dr. Shore's Unusual Practice, they are a 5-piece group out of Melbourne, Australia, and they describe themselves, this is on their website, as weirdo punk masterminds making rock music for oddballs and outsiders, which honestly feels like a pretty accurate description, and I'm here for it. I love it. If you like bands that kind of keep you on your toes, keep you guessing, and have a very experimental vibe, then I think this might be the band for you. Since around 2019, they've quietly built this cult following in that scene, dropping a ton of records. They've been touring internationally and even landing support slots with bands like King Gizzard, Tropical F Storm, even Cosmic Psychos, which make total sense when you hear them. I feel like they can fit in that group of any of those bands. I've seen King Gizzard, I've seen Cosmic Psychos, haven't seen Tropical F Storm, but I totally see them fitting in on the bill with any of those groups. While they are not 100% punk and all their songs aren't 100% punk, they have punk roots and they treat punk the way that it has originally and continues to feel. Like there are no rules, no genre limits, just making something loud and honest and genuine. So you probably are wondering where the name came from. Dr. Sure is actually the alter ego of frontman Dougal Shaw, and he is basically the mastermind behind this whole project. He writes and records everything. He designs the artwork and the merch, directs the videos. It's full DIY energy, which I love to see. Their sound and style is all over the place in a really fun way. I mean that as a compliment. There's punk, there's synths, there's post-punk. We have some classic gritty sounding riffs mixing with electronic moments. They bring the old school punk energy, but they still have a very experimental and artsy side to them. They kind of refuse to stay in one lane, which keeps everything fresh. Feels like I'm waiting around for someone else. They tell me how to move. I wanna get lost. Sometimes I wanna go They've put out a lot of music, so if you're watching the video version, I will throw everything on screen of what they have done. Personally, though, my favorites are Remember the Future, Volume 1 and 2, and their 2024 release, Total Reality. A really great quote from Dougal Shaw, aka Dr. Shore himself. He says, "I always need to be making something. I love going all in on a project, creating a world around it, from the music and lyrics to the artwork and visuals, the release, the live show, thinking about how all the different elements speak to each other to realize some kind of bigger vision, completely inhabit that world, even just for a moment. Then I'm on to the next project." And I feel like you can really hear that mindset in their music. Every release does kind of feel like its own little universe, and they're always trying something new and diving deep into a new project. And then they have something new that is also totally unexpected right after that. With each record and release and live show, they just continue to push boundaries and make space for experimentation and self-expression. My favorite songs from Dr. Shore's Unusual Practice, How Can Anybody Be Sober These Days, Kerosene, and Escalator Man. Next up, band number 3, XCOMM. I feel like I've been seeing this band everywhere lately, all over my feed, popping up online. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about them nonstop, and if you are looking for some hardcore punk that really feels fresh, XCOMM is for you. They're an LA-based hardcore punk band formed very recently, only in the last couple of years, and they already sound like they've been doing this for a decade. And part of that could be a really cool connection. The drummer, Revel Ian, happens to be Scott Ian from Anthrax, his son. He already has great connections in the music world, but make no mistake, This band genuinely is really cool and really good at what they do. Already, they are signed to Blowed Out Records, and legendary Ross Robinson, who's worked with everyone from Korn to Slipknot, is producing their debut album, so they're not messing around. They've been in the studio recording their first full-length album, and it really feels like one of those get in before they blow up kind of situations. Like, you can say you knew this band when. Okay, now here's the part that makes me feel ancient. These guys are so young, and I feel geriatric. Most of these guys aren't out of high school yet. I think they describe their sound themselves perfectly. XCOMM has a very tight, loud, heavy sound with ripping guitars and an intense rhythm section. Basically, it'll make you want to destroy everything around you. Our influences are many various hardcore punk metal bands such as Suicidal Tendencies, Slayer, Minor Threat, which I definitely hear in their sound, Fugazi, Discharge, Bad Religion, and Black Flag. They definitely have that old school hardcore DNA, but it feels modern in a way that doesn't feel nostalgic just for the sake of it. It feels very current. I was reading a lot about this band because I just find them very fascinating, and I was reading that Revel Ian, who grew up just watching music his whole life and listening to music his whole life, but it wasn't until he discovered Glow On by Turnstile that really this world like clicked for him, and he said that that was his gateway, and seeing Turnstile live just like sealed the deal for him, and as a Turnstile fan, love to see it. So it's interesting that they are so young and in that age group, and they have these influences that are old school and classic but also modern, and you can really hear all of those influences in their sound. This band is definitely one to watch. I genuinely am so excited to see how they grow. I can see them opening for a band like Turnstile, and it really feels like watching the beginning of something that is about to blow up, so very, very cool. Next up on my list, number 4, we have Rocket. I love their band name. Really, really cool band name to me. And if you've been craving fuzzy, guitar heavy, alternative rock that has that hint of nostalgia but still feels fresh, I think you are going to love this band. Rocket are from LA, formed in 2021, but their story definitely goes back way further than that. They have been friends since they were kids, but during the COVID lockdown era, they started writing music together. This debut album really has been taking a lot of people by storm. I've seen so many people talking about it online. A lot of you guys, my viewers, mentioned this as one of your favorites of 2025. It's very loud, it's very anthemic, thick walls of guitars and big emotional choruses and songs that sound very dreamy but also explosive at the same time. It hits that sweet spot to me where it feels very nostalgic while also feeling very new. You can definitely feel that 90s rock edge in there, but doesn't feel like they are copying anyone or just like a carbon copy of something. It feels like they are their own thing. We have Alethea Tuttle, who is on lead vocals and bass, Desi Scaglione, who is on guitars, keyboards, Baron Rinsler on guitar and keyboard, and Cooper Latimade on drums, and this group has grown up together. As for their sound and style, as I said, their music definitely leans heavy into that 90s alt rock, grungy, shoegazy kind of world. You have the fuzzy guitars, you have the layered distortion, you have big emotional builds, but they don't really box themselves into one label. In a 2025 interview, Scaglione said, "I don't think any of us consider ourselves a shoegaze or a grunge band. At the end of the day, we're just a rock band, one that loves all different kinds of music," which honestly makes sense because while it has these hints and these inspirations that you can definitely hear, it's just good rock music, period. Lyrically, their newest release, R is for Rocket, dives into relationships and vulnerability, 1 million basically is about wanting someone to meet you halfway and not knowing if they ever will. Like, it's like if Yearning was a song, okay? Crossing Fingers is about falling super deep headfirst into a relationship but being terrified that you're going to mess it up. And Number One Fan is just a straight up love song, and I love that song. I think it is so, so pretty. They have a mix of all the things I love about rock music and also have these emotional lyrics. It just hits for me. I am really loving this band and this latest release so, so much. Their discography right now, we have versions of You from 2023 and R is for Rocket, which was released just last year. And as I said, I've seen so many of you guys talking about it online as well, and rightfully so, because this album is so good. As for my favorite songs from them, I would say Take Your Aim, 1 Million, and Crossing Fingers are my favorites right now. Go listen to R is for Rocket though. I think you guys will really love it. Number 5 on my list, we have Sprints. If you are into loud, scrappy, emotional, raw punk that has something to say, you need to keep this band on your radar. Sprints are an Irish garage punk band from Dublin formed in 2019, and they have been steadily grinding for years now. They've been releasing music since 2019, but since the release of their debut, Letter to Self, they really haven't slowed down. They've been touring constantly, live shows, festival slots, and somehow still finding time to write more music. I mean, they only just released their album, All That Is Over, just last year. All That Is Over, it feels like the result of all of that nonstop momentum. It still swings very, very hard, but it also feels very intentional, like they know exactly who they are and where they will continue to go from now on. I definitely think if you're into groups like Lambrini Girls or Amyl and the Sniffers, you are going to feel right at home listening to Sprints. We have Carla Chubb on lead vocals and rhythm guitar, Sam McCann on bass and backing vocals, Jack Callan on drums, and Zach Stevenson on lead guitar and backing vocals. They describe themselves as garage noise from Dublin, which is very accurate, but I hear a lot more in there too. There's punk, garage punk, alt rock. It's gritty, loud, shouty emotional vocals, very catchy choruses and bridges, and really cool harmonies that sneak up on you. It is true to that garage punk energy. It is cathartic, very feelings forward, but still very fun. As I said, their most recent release, All That Is Over, just came out last year, and Carla Chubb says on writing that record, there was just so much happening and so much to process. I was going through a big breakup with my partner, who I'd been with for 8 years. Colm had left the band. We'd really progressed into being professional musicians, and I was at the start of a new relationship, but then you'd look outside and the world had never been uglier. I was writing every day because there was so much going on. They also kind of reiterate and sum up the main two forces that drove them to write this record. Ignorance becomes the death of us. Privilege without acknowledgement is murder. The world is burning right in front of us. Music like this is so important right now. Music with a message that just speaks loudly about what is important to you and what is important right now. Personal chaos mixed with this frustration poured straight into the music. I am really loving this band, and I love how genuine and how outspoken they are and just how fun they are as well. I would say my favorite songs right now that I definitely think you guys should check out, we have Little Fix, Heavy, and How Does the Story Go? And last on my list for you guys today, we have Sap. Personally, this is the grunge moment that I have been waiting for. Like, if you are constantly chasing that 90s Nirvana energy, but want something that isn't just like a cover band or a nostalgia act, SAP is going to be your band. When it comes to grunge or this style of music, the comparisons to Nirvana are inevitable and fair, but SAP really stands their ground and really hold their own. They're not a Nirvana cover band, okay? They still feel gritty and real, and they are SAP, period, point blank. They are a three-piece from Austin, Texas, super heavily grunge inspired, of course, and even their origin story feels very DIY. It started on Craigslist, and you know, Team Mortgage, one of my other favorite bands, started on Craigslist, so the story hooked me right away. Vocalist and guitarist Evan Fundora moved from Houston to Austin, and he knew he wanted to start a band. He threw a Craigslist ad looking for people to jam with, and bassist Hank Barna answered it. They met up, started playing together, and apparently it just clicked right away. So the only problem was now they need a drummer. That is when drummer Jared Cox comes into the mix. He had just moved from Pennsylvania to Austin, was also looking for a band to be a part of, and thus is history. It's just three guys, and they are a power trio. I don't think they need anything more than that. So sound-wise, as I said, the Nirvana comparisons are going to be inevitable, but in a good way. I mean, think of that whole era of music, and that is an era that I am so fond of. I absolutely adore 90s grunge. Their debut record, Lard Baby, really sounds like a love letter to what made that era so great in the first place, while also bringing in newer styles and newer production. You have raspy, gritty vocals, deep, fuzzy riffs, super thick bass, and drums that just pound through everything. And yes, I'm sorry, I am going to bring up Nirvana. As I said, it's inevitable, but it really does give me Bleach era vibes, just like messy, blown out, super raw, super aggressive. However, it never feels too polished or overly produced. It just feels like you were in the room with them while they're playing. It is just loud, gritty rock music, and I am here for it. Like, this is the grunge revival I've been waiting for, guys, okay? I'm so here for this band. As for my favorite songs, I really love Trash Man, Taste the Rain, and their latest release, High Chair and Lard Baby is a great album. Go listen to it. If you are a grunge fan, you need to check this band out. So those are my 6 bands for this week's episode, and I will have 6 more for you coming very, very soon. So if you are watching on video, goodbye to the video portion, I guess. Something happened with my SD card, so we are going to end out the video a little bit differently. Before I wrap this up, I do have some honorable mentions that I want to shout out because there are just so many bands that deserve more listeners, and if I talked about all of them, this episode would be 3 hours long. All of these honorable mentions are bands that I have mentioned before on this channel and in previous episodes, but just couldn't make an episode like this without. So first of all, of course, Teen Mortgage and Die Spitz. They are basically reoccurring characters on this show. Spiritual Cramp, Spoonbenders, Upchuck, Coffin, Moon Owls, Mages, The Velveteers. Honestly, there are so many more. I will definitely mention more in next week's episode. There's just so many I can't stop talking about. That is it for part 1 of this 2-part series. 6 bands down, 6 more to go, but I want to hear from you. What bands do you guys think deserve way more listeners in 2026? Because maybe I have them ready to go for next week. Maybe they almost made my list, or maybe you will help me discover something new. Be sure to follow me at Pretty in Punk Pod on Instagram and TikTok. You can listen to my podcast on all streaming platforms as well as YouTube for video. Well, not right now, but video versions normally. And I will see you next time in the next episode.